Hey, this is Hunter here, your host for the Another Angle podcast. We're at the halfway point of this year's season, and we thought we'd give you a little recap of the highs and lows that we've had so far with a lot of our star guests. We've had dietitians, weight loss patients, and doctors galore. So yeah, tune in, and hopefully the second half of the season will have as much as the first.
Food was completely controlling my life, and then I would then speak to myself in my own head like, you're worthless, if you can't control what you put in your mouth, how are you going to do this, how are you going to do that, you're not worthy of anything. I would speak to myself really bad, and it's not until you take yourself out of that situation and that food noise is switched off that you realise how bad it is.
Yeah, God, I mean, it sounds like that negative self-talk does tend to happen to a lot of people, obviously getting to a certain weight and not feeling completely in control of your body and your actions, I guess. It's
And then your self-esteem as well, because if you're speaking to yourself like that, and then if people are then speaking to you like that, and then you start to believe it, and then you don't, then you're consumed by all these thoughts,
just
and then
that
you're in a negative
right?
headspace as well, and it can get dark.
100%, yeah.
And that's another reason why these GLP medications not just help your weight loss, it also helps up there in how
100%.
you think, and also how you look at food as well, not only alcohol but food.
What do you think your purpose in life is?
Look, I think people are humans, in my humble opinion, if you wish, are created to add value. You know, every person can create and add value in their own way. And I think if you can make someone's life better, whether it's through the work that you do or whether it's through, you know, the things that you can give, or I don't want to be very kind of romantic about it, but it's really about the value element that I'm very obsessed about. And I do believe people have, their purpose is to create value, whichever form that value might be created in, then I think they are fulfilling the potential that they have and the purpose of their being. My purpose probably might be in hopefully being able to make a change in the way that healthcare is being delivered to people. If we can do that by delivering it in a quick way, in a more affordable way, then this is value. And hopefully at some point in the future, we can, you know, realize that dream of truly delivering personalized healthcare.
What advice would you give people kind of making that consideration, or they're like umming and ahhing about hopping on?
So for myself, I was extremely motivated by achieving the body that I want. And I really struggled to do it by myself, like I said. So I think if you're someone that is at that point in your life where you really want that change to happen, I think that you should go for it. Of course, you should also take into account that you have to be in a calorie deficit, but you should always be patient with yourself. Like I always get people emailing and they get quite upset that they're not losing the weight that they want, or they're not certain. And it's always best to be patient because your weight can fluctuate from day to day. Things can always change, but this overall is a lifestyle that change you're trying to make. Definitely. So this can help you in that journey.
Because in my mind, I'm still the skinny 14-year-old girl who was living in Italy.
Yeah.
And then I look at this picture of a 20-year-old, 100 kg plus person, and I don't recognize her, right? So I like to take these pictures to kind of realize that, oh, I'm coming back to what looks like me in my mind.
I was going to say, it's kind of chipping away on what you feel your body should look like and how you should feel. You know,
100%. And body dysmorphia is very real because at times, if you wear clothes that, you know, you bought when you were bigger, you kind of look in the mirror and you don't realize the progress that you have sort of gone through or the goals that you've achieved. Obviously, because I don't track goals, so to say, it's harder to envision. But when I take my phone and I look at my gallery, I feel so much better. So when I inject on a weekly basis, I actually do that in front of a ring light, in front of a phone. And I love to see, like, put the before and after video comparison.
Actually, I've found that a lot of patients are kind of hesitant to start or seek help. Like, they almost feel like you know, living with obesity, it's a character flaw, or it's something that, you know, is kind of like a failure on their part. Whereas I feel like obesity and living with obesity should be looked at as any other chronic condition. People wouldn't, you know, be afraid to seek help when it comes to diabetes or high blood pressure. So I just feel like this stigma around seeking help for obesity just should be removed. It should be treated as any other chronic condition. And if you're living with it, you should absolutely try and, you know, explore the medical treatments that you have available to you. So I think that's one of the biggest things that even as a society we need to overcome, and patients, I think, will slowly get used to it with the growing, you know, popularity of these medications. So being able to put their hand up and say, yes, I need help, I want to seek help, I want to be on medication for this, I want to combat it. I think that's one of the most important things.
This time last year, I was in such a dark place. I was going through a relationship that was breaking down. I was chubby, had my toe, like I was so overweight, and I like kind of just did that last chance saloon after all the fad diets. And then like the weight started coming off, my confidence started to grow back, and now I'm probably the most confident person ever, and I will always push that on women too. Like, people come to me and like, oh, what do you think about Manjaro? Should I do it? And I'm like, 100%, because you would regret, the people who wait to do it and then finally go on it regret not doing it sooner.
Definitely. I mean, it sounds like obviously you've got the physical factor, but it sounds like a lot of people obviously get that mental health improvement and that kind of mental clarity as well. Like it obviously sounds like you've had that as well, especially over those initial first few months, and then you've only just gone from strength to strength, right?
Yeah, it's even like just going on holiday. Like, I used to worry like, oh my God, I'm gonna put on a stone on holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just drop down a little bit of what I'm dosing on me, and then I can still enjoy myself, but I know that I'm just okay. I'm not gonna beat myself up if I put on a few pounds. I'm not gonna do all of this. And then you feel good in a bikini as well.
Well, that's all you want, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be able to just express yourself while you're on holiday, or just wherever, to be fair, like going out, just going to get groceries, you know. You don't
Yeah, before I used to look like a sack of shells. And then now I'm like, oh, I'm going to do my hair, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, I look so, like, looking back at last year, I look like a completely different person.
I think that it becomes a little bit easier to then maintain that when you come off the medication, once you've developed new habits.
Definitely.
Generally speaking, it takes, 3 months or, 90 days, however it's viewed, to break a habit and to change lifestyle. But to make lifestyle changes, that's of benefit to an individual for when they then come off the medication, where they've then created a whole new life for themselves from being able to participate in activity that they previously were unable to or had a lower amount of motivation to. So this goes back to what I mentioned at the start with access to healthcare, where an individual who presents with disability is of particular interest to me. So disability has always been one of my special interests. And, for an individual who's disabled, who has reduced, mobility, or they have various mobility limitations or restrictions, I think that for an individual such as in that category, it very much is a bespoke case management for best outcomes. So we would have what we call a best outcomes meeting in order to determine what would be the most viable solutions and, what are the targets that we're looking for that are realistic.
This morning I was listening to a podcast, and it was a woman who was on Manjaro, and she was just saying, I feel I've got my willpower. And I was like, no, it's not about willpower. It's making those small, sustainable changes in your life, because weight loss isn't just about taking the injections and changing your food. Or depriving yourself of food. It's about learning, how do I fuel my body correctly? What does my plate look like, rather than thinking how many calories are on there? Because calories are going to give you a number, which is what women are obsessed with. Number of calories, how many grams of protein, the number on the scale. It's all numbers, numbers, numbers. But actually, if we really strip it back, what does your plate look like? Because you could have 200 calories on a plate full of chocolate and 200 calories full of protein, veggies and carbs. But how your body hormonally responds to those calories is going to be very different.
You cannot only work with only a surgeon or a dietitian or on its own, or a physician on its own, or you need to have the whole of them and all like practicing together in one firm. And therefore we need, for example, a surgeon. We need a trusted pharmaceutical institute that actually CQC approved. You need a good physician, you need a good dietitian, you need a good psychologist. So to achieve all that under one umbrella, hence this collaboration, I think. Then you can say, now for this person to come or seek advice, you have a full complementary service. There is no part of the patient pathway, obesity pathway, that's not available in this service.
Thank you very much for joining in on the recap for the first half of the season. We've got a lot of up and coming episodes ready for you over the coming months, so hopefully we'll see you there.